Amelia Salmons. I'm here today with alt rock band Paytron Saint in their studio called the Chicken Coop. Hello.
Hi, hello. Right.
Right, let's start off with an introduction. What's your name?
I'm Nick, and I'm the singer and I play guitar.
I'm Dan, I play drums.
And I'm Dean, I play bass.
Why is the studio, first of all, I think we need to stress this, why is it called the Chicken Coop,
Well,
Nick?
that's, yeah. Because it's on the site of a chicken coop, an old chicken shed. That so to explain, we're in Dean's garden. Well, Dean, you should perhaps tell him why there was a chicken coop here and why there no longer is a chicken coop here.
Maybe not get that dark.
Yeah. So there wasn't,
The foxes had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, the chickens are no longer. So this was like, it was all sort of bit of like brush land really down here. So we just kept chickens down here for a few years. Some ducks they lasted about 2 weeks as well. And then it just got to the point where I don't really like eggs. So I was like, why am I cleaning these chickens out? Then we were getting rats and stuff, and it just like, I'd had enough. And
Well, didn't a fox have them? Didn't like a fox have them?
the foxes had pretty much all of them over the years. Yeah, there's probably a few chickens buried around here as well, still underneath. But no, so this was the chicken area, so we just called it the Chicken Coop because because really. Yeah.
During lockdown,
This is when we started doing it,
Yeah, basically, we kind of, like Dean cleared, knocked the chicken coop down and built this place.
From scratch?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, from scratch.
Pretty much single-handedly as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad helped when he was allowed to come round and help, no one had hired me a digger because they were all shut down, so it was all by hand.
Caveman style.
Yeah. He is pretty good at this sort of thing.
Talk to me about the history of the band and where it came from.
Right, well, it started before me.
And before me.
So I started the band with my brother Joel, who used to be in the band. This was like about 4 or 5 years ago now. I lose track of time, but so we started out as I was singing and playing guitar. He was the drummer. And then we actually had a guy he's actually quite a well-known bass player called Dave Sturt, who is in the band Gong, which is like a Gong, if you know. They're like, they've been going for years. They're like a rock band from like the 60s, 70s, and they're still kind of going through various lineups. And he's like a internationally renowned musician. He tours all over the world. And it just so happened at the time he was living in Belper. And I was doing open mics. I just started playing again after a really long break of not doing music. And I just started playing and writing again. And me and Joel had talked about maybe putting a band together. And I was at an open mic one night and this Dave Sturt was there and he was like, oh, that was great. Do you need a bass player? And he just really encouraged us to kind of like start actually playing. And so the first lineup of Paytron Saint was me, my brother Joel and Dave Sturt. Which didn't last very long because Dave's a busy guy and like he was like on tour in Brazil and all over the place, and it was like and we kind of agreed kind of mutually that maybe we should look for a permanent bass player that's going to be able to gig regularly and not be always halfway around the world for half the year. Well, coincidentally, Dean you were actually at the first gig. We didn't know it. I didn't know him at the time. We met like that night After Dave, the old bass player, left, I was put onto the fact that Dean, this guy that we'd met at our first gig, was a bass player. And we quickly hooked up and it worked really well. So for a while, Paytron Saint was me, Dean and Joel on drums. Cut to, long story short, but eventually we got Dan in on drums and Joel switched to guitar. So we became a 4-piece. As just, I don't know, just kind of things naturally evolved and we thought, let's try this out. But Joel is no longer in the band. He left now not long ago, start of the year because he's actually moving away. He's moving out of the area, and things just kind of came to a natural end with him really. So this is what's great about this. It just feels really fresh now. It feels like a new band in a way, although we're still Paytron Saint. And we've just been as a 3-piece now for the last couple of months, and it's been great. I just think it's been, it's just given us a real shot in the arm. It's just been a real, it's just really, it's fun. It just feels fresh again. It just feels like it's really kind of.
Would you say that there's a difference between the Patron Saint that started out and the Patron Saint today? Like, do you sound different?
I think there's a difference between the Patron Saint that's coming.
Definitely.
Yeah, that is true. Actually, we're writing a lot of new stuff, so it's I think we're in I feel like we're in a transition kind of period, like now, like.
Yeah, I mean, at the start, most of the songs Nick had wrote on an acoustic on his own anyway.
Yeah.
And so it's like
They had a different kind of vibe.
yeah, they were quite softer a lot.
Yeah,
of them,
oh
really.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. A lot more chilled out. We were a lot more kind of like. Yeah, it was kind of a bit more kind of. We're a lot more energetic these days. I think
Yeah.
we've got a lot.
Me,
a lot
giving you
more.
a shot of
Shut up.
Do you feel like this is a risk that you're taking, or do you feel quite comfortable with this transition? Like, it's a natural evolution.
It works.
It works straight away. So anything like this is a risk, right? You kind of think, oh, maybe it'll just not work at all. But it's straight away. It was just like, we just like, oh, this is great. This works. This is great.
Yeah.
This
I
totally
mean, I've played in bands with Dan for most of my life anyway, so we've like we can play together, so it makes life easy that way. Nick can just do what he wants to do.
Well, you write good songs as well.
Oh, thanks, Regis.
I mean, let's talk about the success as well, because I saw you last year at Why Not Festival, which is a massive, like, local thing to play. What's been your greatest success? Let's start over here.
Greatest.
Are we talking with this band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to say his children.
Yeah.
Which one of your children?
I just think it's difficult to. I mean, it depends how you measure like success. I mean, I think like we're just like having a good time, being able to play, record, go around the country. Like we're just trying to build stuff, really. So it's like it doesn't. Success to me is like it's just like as long as you like feel like you're doing what you want to do as a band, you're successful. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I want to like, hopefully, keep pushing it and see, just keep putting our music out and just see who's listening. But yeah, just as long as we feel like I don't feel like we're having to compromise anything, and we're just like doing our own thing. We're pretty independent. We do all our own recording. We do, obviously we've got our own studio. We play whenever we can, as much as we can, and that feels like success even now. Do you know what I mean? I'd like to keep it growing. I'd like to keep it, hopefully, because it's definitely been. It does feel like we're kind of going that way as opposed to just coasting. It feels like
oh
yeah,
that's not.
That would be worse. Yeah, that would definitely be worse. But no, that's bad as well. I don't want to just like, and that's what it felt like. We were doing that for a little while towards the end of before this kind of lineup came together. We were just kind of coasting, really, not really, and it was a little bit frustrating. But now I feel like I certainly feel like on like really up for it again. Like I think I'd got into a bit of a rut of just kind of like, because the band had been together a few years, and it's like it's easy to do in any situation. You just kind of find yourself like coasting along, and just doing. Oh, it's kind of cool, but it was this now feels real again. It feels like
It's exciting. Again
Yeah,
as well,
yeah.
isn't it?
And
Like,
I mean, I suppose a lot of that as well is because we're out of COVID now. You can do gigs.
Oh, yeah,
Dean,
yeah.
talk to me about Dan. Sorry, talk to me about what it's like gigging again and going out and performing as Patron Saint so people can see you.
It feels like it's been a while now. I mean, it was June last year I did my first gig with them, and we've been hitting it fairly hard since then. So to me, it feels we're back to sort of pre-COVID. People come into gigs, plenty of gigs to go play.
And you're all over TikTok. Like, you do TikTok, you do YouTube, like, you can see everything. Patron Saint is everywhere. And how's that been to be able to adapt yourself to becoming a band that's online as well?
It's took a lot of research, hasn't it? I mean, it's not something, I don't know about you two, but it doesn't come naturally to me at all.
Well, you do a pretty good job if you think it doesn't come natural to you. So
Oh, no, not at all.
because I'm like, Dan tells me to do something, and I just do it.
We literally have a Google document, don't we, of Nick's homework.
Yeah, just do some, yeah. I mean, to me, I write songs, I sing, I front the band and stuff, I'm not very good on social media, but it's cool because this guy just sticks a camera in my face, and then we've got some content. It's
I
cool.
think it's important.
It's
You're
pretty
left,
easy.
You're left to do that side of it.
Yeah.
You all have your own roles, don't you?
Totally, yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
see,
That's what makes
Dean
it
drives
fun.
the van. I do the social media.
Yeah, I mean, I should put it out. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, you know, I feel pretty lucky because I do feel like these guys like give me the space to just go like, you just write the songs, Nick. You do the, you know, you do your thing, and these guys are essentially manage the band, like, you know, and I don't book gigs. I don't do anything like that. I didn't organise today. I don't organise anything. I just write the songs and sing the songs. And like, to me, it's like I'm the music guy. That's my department. I've got making sure that it's like we're tight, the songs are good, we sound good, and because that's where, you know, if you ain't got that, you ain't got anything. You know,
Doesn't make it.
you got nothing to promote, have you? Like,
The question you most often get from you is, "So what are we doing this?"
yeah. Honestly, just
Sorry,
like,
who are we talking
yeah,
to?
or someone will be trying to promote something and it'll be like, sort of like, oh yeah, our next single comes out on. Dan, when's the next single? I really feel, you know, totally grateful for that as well, because there is no way. I'm talking about, you know, we were talking about the upward trajectory of the band. That's because of these guys. It's not, you know, it's like I can't organise my way out of a paper bag. No, that's not the phrase. That's not the phrase, is it?
You can't organise a phrase.
Yeah, there you go. I can't even organise the right phrase to use. Yeah, but yeah. So these guys, I owe like. I'd be nothing without these guys. The band would be nowhere.
Cash is fine, then.
Talking about next singles as well, I did see this on social media. That your next
So it's
single is
working.
out March 31st.
Ah,
You know more than
thanks.
Nick.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if that's a bit of a reminder. Nick, talk to me about what that song's about.
Oh, it's okay. So Treeline.
You got the title right.
Treeline.
We're winning today. Well done, Nick.
I
Well
knew
done.
that. I knew that what song it was. So Treeline is actually, in truth, quite an old Paytron Saint song. It's quite an old song. It was a song written. I wrote it in an art gallery. But I didn't realise I was writing a song at the time. I was volunteering for the Format Photography Festival. Yeah, have you heard of that? That Derby. Okay, it's like a photography festival. It happens in Derby every couple of years, and I was like a volunteer for it. And I had a lot of time sitting around like at these photographic exhibitions. But like I was like what do you call someone that sits in a museum? Yeah, like that kind of guy. And I just had a notepad with me. I just used to write, and I wrote like about of you know.
Trees.
Yeah, you gotta. Oh, I'm not explaining this at all. Yeah, it's.
You've not read the press release, have you?
No, you haven't.
Yeah, what does the press release say? Yeah. No, I quite like that. That was the. What did you say? Something about.
That was all you. That
Was
one.
that you?
Yeah, about kind of striving for something that you can see.
Yeah.
But just
Yeah, that is
appreciating that you can trip up and you might not get there. And then what was the other one we used? About wanting something but realising that you've actually got everything you need really. So you don't need to run to the tree line.
So once this single's released, Dan, what happens next? What's the support like once it's come out?
So end of April, we're off on tour. Just a short one around the Midlands for a week or so. Then the festival's over the summer, and then it'll be more songs, I think.
And what's it like in Amber Valley with support?
No, Belper's cool. Like, I mean, obviously over lockdown, everything just went away. But they're starting to get original music back, which is nice. So there's sort of a monthly night started up called Nailed It at Tyler's in Belper, where they're bringing in original acts sort of locally and from further afield. And they're going to put on a festival in July. Which is going to be across, I think last time they had 7 venues around Belper, so it's all free and you can just go around all day turning up to all of them. So there's people in the background in Belper that are really supporting sort of original music now, which is wicked and needed. Yeah.
Especially with, you know, even Derby itself, it's not one of the biggest cities like London or Manchester, so it's different. The music scene's different.
Totally, yeah.
So what's the plan for the tour? Is there something that you're going to try that's different, or are you sticking to the stuff you've
We're
got.
trying out a lot of new songs, aren't we?
We're writing loads of new songs at the moment, so I'm hoping that we'll have almost a pretty brand new set, really, just by the time.
Well, we tend to play a set live, don't we? We like to flow through the songs rather than play song, stop, play another song. So we've got a whole new set. New transitions and things we need to learn. But then still all the classics.
Yeah, we're building up quite a lot of songs now. We've been quite a catalogue of as I say, our next singles are quite an old song, and that's because if it works, it still works. Yeah, so hopefully for the tour, I'm just really looking forward to getting out and just playing a load of new songs and because we'll get them really tight as well. We'll get them because we're going, playing a lot of gigs, and that's the best place to hone your sound is a gig. I mean, you can practice all you like; it's great. Practicing is great, but you really do when you're in a live situation, you have to be good. You have to. It's like it kind of gives you that extra incentive just to be absolutely on it.
And credibility as well. Like if people hear you and they say, "Oh, they sound like what they do when you play them in the car," that's a good thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you can get a different kind of vibe from a recording than you can to a live version, but
it's almost like you want people to say, "Oh, they're better than on the recording."
Yeah, I hope that you get what you try and do in the studio is you try and get the song across as a piece of music, whereas when you play live, there's it's more about sensation and performance and energy and volume and the songs as well. But it's like I've got no problem. We joke about how we quite often will do songs like way faster and more aggressive when we play them live. Whoa, we played so-and-so pretty fast tonight, but it was great. We'd never do it like that in the studio. But I like that. I like bands. I grew up in bands who just like, I've always believed in the kind of, you can be a bit more, visceral and a bit more
It's a bit
ragged
freer
when you play live, Whereas in the studio, it's like, you're kind of like crafting something. You're kind of honing, crafting and making
it perfect as well.
One
last question for you all. I'm going to go round. So start with Nick. How important is Paytron Saint to you?
How important? It's very, very important because I've written songs. I've been a musician since I don't know, since like I was, and I've played in bands since I was a teenager. I've been a drummer. I've been all kind of, but I've written songs. It was when I started writing songs that I just went, ooh, it was one of the things I never thought I could do. I used to look around me and thought, oh, I'll never be that. I'll just stick to playing the drums or just play. I never thought I could actually write songs. But being in bands with songwriters and just watching and thinking, oh, actually, it's not a mystery to it. There's no great, you just pick up your guitar and start playing and just, there's not like a secret formula. So it's become really important to me to have that creative outlet. Any times when I've not been in a band, when I've stopped writing songs, I think my mental health has suffered for it. And so, how important is the band? It's like hugely important to me. I wouldn't be happy if I wasn't in the band. I wouldn't be. I would be just feel something missing, if I wasn't playing with these guys and writing songs and going out and creating. I mean, we were in the studio yesterday, we were in here yesterday, and it was just like the funnest day. We just had really good fun. I was just playing guitar all day, Dan was recording it, and it was like, this is the stuff. It was like when I went home, I was like, that was a really good day. That was a really good day.
You did, we got like text, didn't you?
And it was just, it was easy to do and fun to do, and you're making something that you're proud of and that you want to show people and let people to listen to, and that for me is like, that's as good as it gets.
Running hard to reach the tree line, getting caught